So we've learned about elasticity, and we've learned about the different kinds of elasticity, elastic, inelastic, etc. One question you may have is, why is a demand curve elastic? Why is it inelastic? What are the things that affect that? And so there are five factors that play into the role of if a demand curve is elastic or inelastic. They don't necessarily all work in the same direction, but they all come together for every product and end up determining the elasticity of that product's demand. The most important one of them would be the availability of close substitutes. So all of them play a role. This is probably the biggest factor in determining how elastic or inelastic a demand curve is. So availability of close substitutes. Okay, what does that mean? It basically means, from a consumer's point of view, do you have other products that you could use instead of this one? If the answer is yes, then when the price of this product goes up, I'm going to substitute away towards other things. Why wouldn't I, right? But if I don't have a lot of choices, I will still obey the law of demand. Price goes up, quantity demanded will go down. It just won't go down so much. So when I don't have a lot of substitutes, it will tend to be more inelastic. And when I do have more substitutes, it will tend to be more elastic. So the more substitutes there are, the more elastic the demand will be. Okay, so that's number one, availability of close substitutes. Another one that is important is the passage of time. We can talk about short run and long run. So in the short run, you have the price goes up on, let's say, gasoline. Again, law of demand will prevail. The price has gone up, the quantity demanded will go down. But when you look at it in the short run, there isn't a lot you can do. You can't go change your car in the short run. You can't move in the short run to be closer to wherever it is you're driving. So you will adjust, you'll cut out unessential trips, maybe try and plan out your driving a little better, but that's all you can do. And so in the short run, you'll have a small reaction in the quantity demanded, so that means inelastic. But in the long run, you have time to do some of those bigger sort of changes, like getting a car that's more fuel efficient, moving somewhere closer, arranging maybe for some carpooling, that sort of thing. So the more time you have, the longer amount of time passes, the more elastic it'll be. So this is what I meant by they may not all be working together, because I could be looking at the short run of something that has a lot of substitutes, right? And so all of these factors, all five of these factors are going to come together to determine the elasticity. So when you calculate it, it's like that's how they all came together. All right, luxuries versus necessities. So again, we are looking at this as how would a consumer's ability to change the quantity be affected by whether it's a luxury or a necessity. So if a good is a luxury, a want rather than a need, and the price goes up, you're going to see a larger response in their quantity demanded going down, okay? When it's necessity, as it sounds like, you need it, even as the price goes up, yes, you'll cut your quantity demanded, just like we talked about with gasoline, but you're not going to cut it as much because it's something you really need. So the more it is a luxury good, the more elastic, okay? So we would see, what's a good luxury good? We could see sports tickets. Okay, now that may not be a good one. Some of you might consider that a need. We could see movie or entertainment money being a luxury, and as prices go up, you'll see a bigger response in quantity demanded going down than you would on just food at the grocery store. Okay, definition of the market. Okay. So how broad is the market is kind of what this is getting at. When I talked about the market for gasoline, that is a broader definition than the market for one gas station, for example. So as a consumer, I can see that a gas station has changed its price, and I have all other gas stations to go to, right? So I'll be more responsive to that. But when the price of overall gasoline has changed, then you're having to find a substitute for the gasoline, and obviously that's a little harder to find. Another way to understand this is the cereal aisle in the grocery store. If you're looking for the elasticity of Raisin Bran, you have a lot of other choices to go to. When you make a very narrow definition, just Raisin Bran, all those other products that are cereals with raisin, cereals in general, and then other breakfast foods, those are all things I could change to when I see a change in the price of Raisin Bran. So I'm going to be much more responsive to a narrowly defined market. When I look at a broader market, such as all breakfast cereals, my elasticity will be lower simply because I can't change to another breakfast cereal. I'm saying, what is my reaction if all of breakfast cereals price goes up? And then I'm having to look for everything. So the upshot of all this is the more broad the definition of the market, the more elastic. So when you make it very narrow, down to like just a product, for example, it is going to be less elastic. And then the last one we want to do is share of the budget. Okay. For this one, you can imagine, how sensitive are you if you were in the market for a car, buying a new car, and they give you some sort of special price rebate? How much will that affect your willingness to buy a particular car versus there's a equivalent percentage change in the price of a paperclip? Generally, something that is, a couple of dollars is not going to register with you when there is a perhaps 10-20% change in price. It doesn't mean, oh, I'm going to go stock up on it because it's such a small part of your budget. But when it's a large part of your budget and there's a price change, you're going to react to it a lot more. So the bigger percentage the product plays as a percentage of your budget, the more elastic. All right, so you might want to work with these a little bit and give them some thought, but each one of these is just thinking through how does this affect my ability to change my quantity demanded when a price changes? And in which way would allow me, since I did it this way, which way would allow me to be more elastic, more responsive to a price change?